Hi everyone. My name is Jake. So my unit plan that I will be sharing you with today is called Keys to High School Success and Beyond. The target for this unit will be new high school students, so ninth graders, and it will be to help them to prepare for high school and their years beyond. So for the needs assessment, rationale, and ASCA mindsets and behaviors, so the goal of this will be to help ninth grade students in their big transitional year. Going to high school was a big change for students in terms of course workload and their environment and more just overall more responsibilities. So the need for this is to prepare them for the expectations they'll have to have for high school and afterwards. The need for this unit is to help students who traditionally have difficulty creating goals, building self-management, and being organized. So the goals of these lessons will be to address all this and help prepare them more for their high school careers. So the ASCA mindset behaviors that I chose is B, L, LS, LS3, which is time management and organizational and study skills. So all the lesson plans will all align with this. So the unit overview and learning objectives. Um, so the overview will be for the build different skills that'll succeed in high school and beyond, like I mentioned earlier. To do this, there will be two key objectives that will be focused on. One is students will be able to manage the course loads by planning out specific times to study, and students will be able to organize their schedules to ensure they do not procrastinate to succeed in high school and beyond. So these objectives will be throughout each of the lesson plans, so they will all contribute to the goals of these plans. So for lesson one, it is called Building Self-Management Skills. This lesson will introduce different time management skills. High ninth graders are new to high school, so they have a lot more things going on. There's a lot of extracurricular activities available. Just a big change overall. So it's important for them to learn how they can manage this new time and all these new things they have going on. Um, the lesson will explain how to handle the heavier course loads that high school offers than previous middle school and elementary. In this lesson, students will discuss with each other different management strategies that they think are good for them and what work for them, and they can teach others. They would also fill out worksheets about what strategies work best for them. They'll actually do this before they talk to their peers, and they will use this worksheet to just share and compare different strategies. And they will also do activity the way that they list the activities that they think should be prioritized the most. For example, schoolwork will most likely be at the top for all of them. So the assessment method would be um, to work on one skill this week. So at the end of the lesson, students will identify one skill that they will be mindful of trying to incorporate in their schedules for that week. So lesson two is career exploration. Um, so building on some of the time management and time management strategies they have in their previous lesson that align with the early objectives, students will now begin to explore different careers. And even though they're just beginning high school, the next step after high school will be college if they so choose so. So this is a good time to introduce them to different ways they can begin to explore careers so they can try to get ahead of the game and prepare for where they want to go next. Um, in this lesson, students will fill out a list of careers that they already think they might be interested in, and as well as list out different skills that they think would match these careers. Doing this will help them see if their skills match up with future careers that they are interested in pursuing. Once they do this, they will begin to do independent research on the different career paths that they're interested in and what they may entail. And for the method, they will complete career interest surveys. This will give them a nice baseline of things that might stand out to them that highlight their different skills and interests. And the third lesson is building healthy study habits. Again, this aligns with the objectives mentioned in the beginning. Students will discuss with peers their good and bad study habits. Um, a lot of times when students come into high school, they don't really know the best ways to study when they aren't managing so many new things. High school is just such a different environment, so it's important for them to identify what good and bad study habits they'll need to have. They will then build out different study plans that would fit their schedule. And then they will receive a list of study habits and they will see a worksheet of study habits and they will check the ones that they already do. And this will can open up their minds to ones that they haven't thought of yet. And for the assessment method, they will pick one good study habit they will add and one bad study habit they will get rid of. For example, a good one will be beginning to study for an exam at least 1 week prior, and a bad will be to get rid of starting any assignments on that day it's actually due. So for the results, this is a graph of the pre and post assessments statements. The first one is I see how setting aside specific study times allows me to study enough for every class so I succeed. You can see by this is the Likert scale, which measures how much they agree or disagree. So you can see the difference from the pre and post that it nearly doubled from 2.1 to 4.7. And then for second one is I see how staying organized prevents me from falling behind in my classes. Again, this one also increases mightily from 2.6 to 4.6. So it shows that the data supports the implication of these lesson plans. So for my conclusion reflection, the impact of this unit will be to develop the right mindsets and skills to succeed in the high school and college. Mostly these lesson plans will focus on the high school and the responsibilities in high school because these students are new, but they will also begin to slowly introduce them to things they'll think about looking ahead for college. It kind of goes along with the objectives of not procrastinating and getting ahead of things. It's never too early to um, look look in their future by starting these habits early on in high school. It will help students to become overall more organized and be proactive and driven. Um, One thing I noticed from these lesson plans is how the immediate and long-term impacts that these plans have. So some immediate impacts I would see are the different study habits that change, how much test scores will be able to change just from students practicing these new habits just weekly. And then long-term impacts can be students getting ahead of their career outlook process by looking at it at the beginning of high school and not waiting to the very end and the scramble to figure out how their skills match different careers they might or may not be interested in. So one thing I would add, especially for the lesson plan about career exploration, is bringing in people from actual careers that can talk to students. It can give them a better idea of things they may be interested in. And then I would also like to find a way to work with parents to help students practice the skills they're taught in these lesson plans at home. Um, this is important because a lot of skills taught are time management and study habits. So a lot of this will have to be done at home because a lot of time, obviously, the studying is done at home, and there are extracurricular activities they deal with are at home too. So they'll be able to incorporate inside and outside of school. That's all. Thank you.